Marco, it seems like as games go along, he gets stronger, and had the benefit of having the offseason has contributed to that.
Probably. He just, he's a strong guy though, and he did come into the year obviously ready for it and ready for to be strong in the fourth quarter and as the season goes. So hopefully, and knock wood, so far it's gone well for him, and he has looked really strong at the end of games.
What about Quentin as a player? When you get off the field, how do you look at him as a player and how he's playing?
Quentin Carter's been a great player for us. He's been very consistent. He's a very smart player in understanding concepts and the defenses and the different complexities we give him. He recognizes offensive schemes. He's got good ball skills, and he's a very physical tackler. So he's been a very solid safety for us.
He seems to be so sort of not animated, calm when he's talking to us, when he's right here. Does the light go on Saturdays? Does he wait till he's in the huddle? I mean, when does that sort of...
It's different for all guys, but Quentin's a guy that likes the competition, and you could tell when it's time to play, he's focused in, and he has the look you like, that he's anxious to be on the field, chasing somebody, and looking forward to the moment of it. So he's, he has that competitive edge to him, definitely.
You've been telling us about Noble for weeks. He has a good game. Are there other young guys like Colvin or some of the young wide receivers getting close to having
They
a
are. Aaron continues to make improvement. Young receivers are getting more consistent. Watching them in practice, they're showing more and more signs of the consistency you want. We had Austin Haywood in at tight end a little bit last week in the fourth quarter, and he did a nice job. Continues to. Corey Nelson had an excellent game. Covered kicks great. When he was in on defense, did well. So Corey continues to make good improvement too.
Relationship with the defensive staff of Cincinnati, give you some insight on how they're defending your offense?
Oh, to a degree, a little bit. But again, it's pretty hard to hide what your philosophy is when we see everything for 2 years, everything a year ago and everything this year, so you're constantly studying it, and you can generally see what their concepts are. Well, again, pretty traditional in with their four-man front, and then they're just going to line up the formations like most people do, 4-3, 4-2 with the guy walked out, and then quarter coverages and then they mix them. They'll mix in their coverages from there, blitz you a little bit and go 3 deep, and try and play a little 2 deep quarters. Traditional zones and defense for the most part.
How has Landry Jones developed, and how specifically has he progressed over the last year?
Well, he's working on it. He's only played 3 games here so far, and he was thrown into the fire last year, not expecting to be. So, and I thought he handled that situation a year ago as well as anyone could have, and grew with it through the year. And I think players around him kind of grew a little bit as he went through the year. And I believe this year he'll continue to make improvement, and I believe he'll be supported better, just with the guys around him playing at a higher level and better, more consistent level.
How is the offensive line play here?
They've done a good job. I think it'll get better as they keep moving through the year, but they've been pretty good, really.
You anticipate the kind of blocks and pad up there where like kind of change who the guards are, it's on one side?
Yeah, that's not a big deal though. Those guys change in practice regularly. I think it helps keep them fresh. I said this kind of yesterday after practice, when there isn't a big discrepancy between the first guy and the second guy, they both have a chance to play better if you're rotating them in and out, keeping them fresh as opposed to getting worn down. I think you got a better chance of getting a higher level out of each guy as opposed to just one guy. So, so far that's been handled really well.
How much, if any, consideration is there to redshirting Clay, if that's possible, and also Finch?
That's something, we'll look at as they get closer to being back, what their, role will be and how much it will be, at that point. And can do you have the comfort level to play them, when they haven't played now for a little while? So that's something that'll be discussed, before they're back on the field. So it'll be considered, but I don't, we'll just see.
Talk about your coverage units early. I mean, field position was so huge Saturday. Elaborate a little bit on how big an advantage that was in that game and how it can be the rest of the season.
Well, it has been an advantage for us really through 3 games. Tress is kicking the ball off really well. Our coverage has been outstanding. And then, and same punt-wise, he's averaged 50 yards last week. With the week before, I think it was, 45 or 6, and the first week it was over 50. So that's a big difference when when he can change the field that way, punting the ball. And then, we haven't quite gotten Ryan. We were close in the Florida State game, popping a few punt returns that he averaged close to 10 yards, and that's usually pretty high in the country if you're averaging around 10 yards per punt return. And of course, last week the kickoff returns, we had every one of them. I think we started to 40 or better on all but one. On the one that we mishandled, the squib down the middle.
Well, where do you draw the line on how physical you are in practice? Because you're talking about needing to improve in tackling, and you've got to go at it, but you don't want to do too much of it. So.
Well, we're never foolish about the way we practice, meaning we're pretty smart of not having piles, staying off the ground, and those kind of things. So I think as much as anything, it's getting our feet and body wrapping people up in practice as opposed to going all the way to the ground. So anyway, we're very conscious of that, of not using up too many hits in practice, but getting the work we need.
When did you learn that O'Hara would not be able to kick? The day before, the day of the game? Or?
Well, I knew that Thursday and Friday he didn't feel great, but last week he didn't either, and by Saturday he felt well. So really Saturday morning, Scott Anderson, our trainers, alerted me that he didn't feel he was going to be able to. So I didn't really let it faze me. I said, well, I'll make sure Jimmy's ready to go then. And again, just really proud of Jimmy, just to hang in there, and he was solid. I mean, he hit the ball great. So, hopefully that boosts him, and he looked, has had a good week of practice, and so I'm excited to see him, hopefully continue to improve and be a solid guy for us.
The biggest thing with him been confidence, and a game like Air Force, will that give him a lot of confidence going forward?
You would think so, but he's also had a little, he's had a little bit of a sore knee on his plant leg that hasn't helped him either. So, so it's probably both. But you would think the way he hit it, that he obviously got to make him feel good and confident that on how he's swinging it. So hopefully that'll continue this week.
What kind of range does he have?
Oh, somewhere, 45 to 50.
Northwood has the second on the team in tackles and has 18 solos, leads the team. Is he playing? I mean, that seems like a lot of tackles for a cornerback. How is he playing?
Well, a lot of it's due to the styles, again, of people and how we've played. With all the perimeter run game, with 2 of the teams we played, right, and some of the short stop routes that they're throwing because of our alignments. So, some of it I think correlates to the style of offenses we've played. I think is the biggest reason. But Jamel is playing well, and played well again the other day. Had a great game against Florida State, and he is playing. He's doing a nice job and continues to improve, but has played very well so far. After the first game, the first game he played well. He had one bad play. Other than that, he had 4 passes broken up and an interception, and some tackles. So the one bad play sticks out, and as a DB, that kind of ruins your day.
In road trips, you guys really just go to a hotel and you're hanging out there, and the stadium's what you get to enjoy the most, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always. I'm a big stadium guy. Meaning I love to see different ones, new ones, be in them, and I'm sure the players are that way. That's kind of their venue to go have at it and compete a little bit. So, I'm sure going in there, will be exciting for them.
What have been some of your favorite stadiums?
The Coliseum in Rome. That was really cool. So, Really, you think about that tradition, and I couldn't wait to go to it. Once my wife and I were able to go a few years ago with some friends, Matt McMillan and his wife, and I mean, as soon as I got there, it was like I couldn't get there fast enough. So that was cool. Outside of that, I don't know about any. There are a bunch of great ones, across this country. There's a ton of them. I like the older, more traditional ones. And again, you got to admit now, some of these college stadiums that are over 100,000, and even ours 85 and up, now they're pretty special. When you look at, just I don't know, the history and tradition, and when they're full of people, that's pretty neat.
Some of the young guys in high school, do you talk to them at all about this being the first real game, or is it just an old practice week?
Well, yeah, sure, you talk to them to a degree, but in the end, we practice how we practice. I mean, that's, our process to be prepared for the game doesn't change. So other than Friday, we got to get on a bus, get on a plane, and go there. But other than that, the way we meet and organization and all isn't really different. And you make them aware of, what has to happen, when we're there, and what kind of mindset we have to have, and what will theirs be like. So there's preparation that way too. Good.